This podcast is being brought to you by WXAV 88.3 FM and WXAV.com. WXAV, bringing the best podcasts to you.
Hi, I'm Tyson Walker with WXAV 88.3 FM, talking to Elly Kace via Zoom. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Tyson?
I'm good enough. I'm alive, and I don't question the inevitable.
There you go. And after a couple years that we've all had, being alive is a big deal. So,
So I'll just get started. First, let me say that nothing is a hit. Like nothing is a. That's a good song. I listened to it probably 10 times in the last hour, just
oh
playing
my
video
God,
games, and yeah.
thank you
I
so much.
I mean, it's just, and I know as an artist, it probably sucks having anything be perceived that's not the artist vision, but it just seems scornful, but not resentful. It mostly just seems like you're speaking your truth throughout the song.
That means so much to me. And honestly, like I'm really I've been sitting on this project for like the whole pandemic. So it's really cool to finally release it and I'm so interested in what other people are taking from it actually. So like I want to hear all about your reactions and what video game you want to play while you listen and all of that. But yeah, nothing is definitely was me tapping into some rage and some anger and kind of owning uh my big feelings about the ways that I've felt trapped for a lot of my life. So I'm so glad that you got that and that it didn't have resentment in it because I've been working hard on that personally to like allow myself to have anger but not resent people or blame other people and to recognize that it's something that's just there to move through me and it's going to show me exactly where I need to go, you know?
So was that the headspace you're in for the entire duration of making Nisma?
Yeah, yeah. Generally, just I tried to approach everything from this place of radical self-acceptance, of just kind of um, allowing my emotions to be whatever they were, kind of without judging them or without qualifying them, and noticing where they were going to take me. So the tracks themselves started from improvised vocal loops where I kind of like tapped into the concept of each word. So like there's nothing. I releases tomorrow. There will be C means and anything. So every word was a meditation. And I allowed myself to just kind of sit with what that word meant to me sonically and like started improvising on the sounds of the word. And for me, nothing was definitely immediately a lot of anger and a lot of this twisted kind of darkness that I found within me. Um, but generally across the board, the full record it comes from that place of me doing my best to accept myself and accept yeah the feelings that I had around just kind of having to sit with myself. I mean, we all were forced to just kind of sit still for 2 years and we couldn't escape the stuff that, we all have to look at and deal with the normal distractions that we had. I couldn't just like go to a rehearsal or make myself busy teaching or, go out with friends or anything like that. I had to really, like everyone else, sit with myself these past couple of years. And so I was trying not to, trying being the keyword, trying not to judge myself as I had the feelings and then allow the sounds to kind of grow from that and hopefully offer a catharsis to whoever was listening. So,
You mentioned catharsis and meditation a little bit. I think I read while I was just reading up, studying you. It's a weird thing to say, but I guess that's what you do before an interview. But that you love yoga. Is there any way that you'd say that yoga has made you a better artist? Because I just feel like there's definitely a symbiotic relationship between the meditative qualities of music and the healing properties of meditation.
absolutely, 100%. I mean, so a lot of this deeper listening to myself came because I thank my lucky stars every day. I'm so blessed. I went to the most incredible yoga teacher training right before the pandemic started, at a school called Lighthouse Yoga School with Jared McCann here in Brooklyn. And yoga is so much more than what we think it is in the States. Yoga is meditation. Yoga means union. And there are, you can sit still and be practicing yoga. So I was kind of taught about that, and that's like the extreme nutshell version. I was taught about that at this teacher training, and Jared is a mentor of mine now. Jared and Rebecca are both mentors of mine now, and what they facilitate is meditation and is sitting with yourself and this idea of radical self acceptance. But the thing that really propelled me into this space of music making was the chanting aspect of yoga. Um, I chant in Sanskrit every single day and have since just before the pandemic, and it has changed my whole life. It's believed that when you chant in Sanskrit, that the consonants and the vowels vibrate different parts of your body and release scar tissue and old traumas and wounds and things like that. So, sound as healing is kind of infused in yogic traditions. And overcoming the body, overcoming these vessels that we walk around in, um, is the purpose of the postures. Is to, the yoga posture doesn't do anything. When you have your hand, like feet on your head, and you're sitting there doing a weird pose, it's not doing anything for anyone. You know what I mean? It's just a strange position. But the mindfulness and the intentionality that it takes to create that position is the yoga. And so that's kind of, I learned that from my practice. I'm still learning it every day. I'm still struggling with it every day because I'm a human, and so I get distracted and I like shiny things. But like that's what I'm really working on is that deeper listening and finding that intentionality and putting it in. I mean, that's why I broke down these words the way that I did. That phrase, nothing I see means anything. So in nothing, there's in the beginning section, you hear the N sound in like a hum sort of a feel. It's actually the letter N. And then there are some letter N's and N that have been distorted to sound like guitars that are in the tracks that are looped.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, and then there are yogic breathing exercises that have specific sounds to them. And those are also layered in as like whisper tracks, and I'm making percussive noises with consonants with my mouth, sort of with the intentionality of the anger and of the rage in nothing, in the hopes that kind of like the Sanskrit, though English is not Sanskrit, never will be. Um, but kind of in line with that, the idea was to unlock in the listener, whether they know that I was doing that or not, to unlock whatever they need to feel, that might relate, just from that deeper space. So 100% absolutely all of this came from my yoga practice, and I would not be here without my yoga practice on many levels. I mean, yoga has saved me a lot in my life.
I can say just from the 5 or so minutes we've been talking that you want to know how people will experience the album, what they're doing while listening to it. On November 19th, when Nothing I See Means Anything comes out, I will be doing yoga. I've tried it once before, and I was just watching a YouTube video trying to follow along, and I was so stiff. And I was not doing it right, and I wasn't doing it right because I was so worried about doing it wrong. And I think I'm just gonna pop on the nicest set of headphones I have, my yoga mat, and just get right to it.
Oh my gosh, will you please tell me how that feels and what you experience? Also, look at your self-awareness. Like, amazing. That's that's it.
I'm
There's no right way to do yoga. If you're doing your best, it's the right way. So,
And that brings me to, I guess that's actually a great segue. Is there a correct way, in quotes, to experience Nismo?
the correct way is whatever whatever your impulses tell you, really. And it's like I said, I'm so excited to learn what people's impulses are for it. You know, for me, sometimes when I was listening to it, when we were doing the mix, I needed to take some of the tracks for a run, like, and like just angry run to them and like feel out, like, is this dark beat dark enough that I want to run faster? Like, yeah, we got to turn it up. And things like that. But I have other friends who have really enjoyed meditating while listening, or going for a walk. Some of my friends that I've shared the private link with. So I'm so curious about how everyone will find this and what it will mean for each individual person, because I bet it'll be different for everybody. So I don't really envision a right way. I just hope that it hits people and in whatever way that they're ready for. Whether that's like I'm gonna ugly cry, or I'm gonna dance, or I'm gonna have a party with my 2-year-old, like whatever it is. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
And you actually have if I butcher this, please let me know. An operatic soprano background.
Yeah, operatic soprano. Yes, that's right.
First try. I want that on the record. First try. So I think I've read that this is being described as a pop album. So what would you say the biggest challenge in incorporating your opera stylings into a pop record were, if any?
Yeah, that's a great question. The thing about opera, and I love opera, I will always love opera, is there are a lot of right ways. It's kind of like what we were just talking about. There are a lot of boxes to fit into, and perfection and tradition is sort of this very delicate, fragile thing that's very protected in the operatic industry. So as I approached this, I really wanted to make sure that every sound that came out of my mouth came from what I was feeling, not from me thinking, I can't sound like an opera singer, or I can't sound like a pop singer. None of that. I really worked hard to make sure that wasn't in my headspace. When I was recording, I really tried to just make the sound that got the feeling across. And so some of the songs have a more belty, growly, like hardcore vocal sound, and others of them, in like Means in particular, there's like this epic operatic descant where I'm just full on singing opera in one track, you know. So but it fits with the sound world. It's a little Marvel movie-esque. It kind of just takes it to that next drama level. But yeah, I think that was probably the biggest challenge, was really giving myself the space to be vulnerable with my voice, and to not worry so much about being perfect, or everything sounding a certain way. And I have to thank my producers for helping me along the way with that, because um, there was a lot of encouragement that went into that. It's a strange thing, because when you work for hours a day meticulously judging every sound that comes out of your mouth and trying to make it better, um, approaching a recording session where you want the sound to be raw sometimes, and you want it to just have the emotion and not so much clarity. uh, it's a certain headspace. So I think that's the biggest challenge that I've found.
It's incredibly just raw and vulnerable. So I do understand what you're saying. Kind of breaking it down scientifically could hurt the end product.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess I just have one more question. I saw you cite Bjork, Kate Bush, and Lady Gaga as inspiration. Is there an Elly Kace list of essential listening?
Oh my goodness. Are you sure you want to ask this question? Because we'll be
Uh,
here all day.
I mean, I do think we have 10 minutes left in the call because I'm very cheap, but we'll
I
fit it in.
I love it. So I've been obsessed with Serpent with Feet lately. Um, the new album Deacon is just incredible. I fell in love with Serpent with Feet listening to Four Ethers. That particular song is just so creatively crafted and inspires me deeply. Let's see. You listed okay, so Tori Amos. I'm a '90s kid, so like Alanis Morissette, Tori Amos, Bjork, Kate Bush all fall into a weird similar category for me, and Fiona Apple too is in there.
Hmm.
Of like just things I grew up with that are just sound worlds in my mind. Um, just incredible. FKA Twigs is another artist that I
Twigs rocks.
Twigs is amazing. I was just like stalking her YouTube videos, and checking out like just for inspiration some of the stuff that she's done live, and just it's just incredible what they're creating. I'm blown away. Let's see, who else? I I also grew up listening to a lot of like Nine Inch Nails and Radiohead, and uh, my dad was a really big fan of a lot of classic rock things. My parents have incredible taste in music. My mom turned me on to like the Cranberries and the Clash and the Cure and all those good things from the '80s, and so yeah, I the list goes on and on. I love music so much. I'm trying to think. What have you been listening to lately? What like is any of this striking a chord with you?
Yeah, a little bit. When I heard Nothing for the first time 3 hours ago, and I had these exact same headphones on, and it reminded me of when I heard Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights for the first time 2 months ago with these same headphones, and it's just such a sonic scape. It's I'm not saying this like that's a great song. That is an incredible song.
Oh, you're flattering me. I'm blushing.
But I think that's about it. Nothing I See Means Anything, November 19th. Tyson Walker, Elly Kace, signing on.
Thank you very much for listening to this WXAV 88.3 FM podcast. Be sure to visit our website, wxav.com, for more information on your escape from ordinary radio.